Merry Christmas! Or, I guess people will be busy with Christmas, and or this video is coming out after Christmas, so instead, I hope you had a good Christmas if you're watching it after, I guess. But while you were chilling there in your cozy blankets having fun at night with family and opening presents and gifts that you were probably too lazy to get yourself and gift others, which I definitely am not relating to that, no way, there were 3 abnormalities that also wished for gifts, and outside the city, in the outskirts, exists a factory filled with gnomes and a giant, all of them who made said presents for you, as they wear their happy smiles. On the outside, that is. On the inside, the abnormalities wish for blood, and the gnomes of the factory kidnap many unfortunate people, mostly children, to make their gifts out of their human flesh, and giving them out to those in the outskirts, naughty or nice, to bring comfort and joy among everyone that lives there, outside of human comfort. What up, everyone? This is a new series that I'm doing where I analyze every single abnormality, distortion, or monster that exists in the entire Project Moon series. And since it's the holiday season and that the Miracle in District 20 intervalo is re-releasing with voice lines this time, which, first of all, thank God, and second of all, it's a bad intervalo, but oh well, might as well talk about the gnomes and the giant of the outskirts. Along with those two, we also have the 3 Christmas-themed abnormalities, Rudolta, Sandolph, and the newest abnormality that has no name yet. So for now, I'll just call it either Krampus, because of good reasons that I'll get into in a bit, or by its ego name, Christmas Nightmare, which is the name that I'll be using most of the time, so yeah, get your blankets, grab the cookies that were originally meant for good old Santa, and check under the bed, because this is definitely going to be a jolly-spirited video. Now, I would like to start off by saying that despite having the intervalo, there is not a lot to talk on when it comes to the gnomes themselves. How many of them are there? Are they only Christmas themed, or are there more versions of them? One for different seasons, or something like that? Well, we don't know. But from what we do know, the gnomes are just small creatures that live in the outskirts, which is an area beyond the city where monsters like the sweepers, or even the mysterious tree birds, may exist. It also intersects with the Great Lake as well, so technically it is also a part of the outskirts. Along with the usual monsters, there are also a few dozen people that live there as well, such as the people of Cloud Town, where, during the events of the intervalo, gnomes from the gift factory attacked the village, destroyed it, and kidnapped every single person from the village, where they then bring the humans back to their factory and turn them into toys, gifts, and whatever it is by manipulating flesh and bone through the machinery in their factory, which then, when Christmas comes around, the giant Santata, yes, I'm not lying, this is his actual name, moves around the place and gives his presents to those in the outskirts, naughty or nice. Now, why is that? Well, according to Santata himself, he says that because the people that live in the city already have gifts of their own, they make their gifts for those that can't experience discomfort, especially themselves. Quote, "Do you yearn for gifts too? Yet your kind already owns all there is to own. We and our neighbors in the outskirts wish so dearly for that very day, the only day we are allowed joy and comfort in human gifts." To the gnomes and Santata, they believe that their gifts are meant to ease and give joy to those that have been essentially kicked out of the human life. Monsters, essentially, all out of hatred of humans that already live in their quote-unquote comfy life, which I find reasonable, but still, kidnapping humans is still quite evil, and then turn them into toys. But moving on, in short, the gnomes and the giant, at least those that are in the gift factory, are essentially the outskirts version of Santa and the elves, who make their toys by kidnapping humans and turn them into said toys, which I find kind of rad. But oh well. Now, are there more giants and gnomes, and are there more factories like Santata's? Most likely, but then again, we don't know too much about the outskirts either way. Maybe we'll find out more in the Sweeper intervalo, but at least for now, this is as much as we know about the holly jolly Christmas monsters in the outskirts. Which is sad, because if that's all there is to it, and if we actually did kill the outskirts Santa, then yeah, no presents for you, kid, I guess. Anyways, we'll talk more on the outskirts when the time comes. So for now, let's talk about the Christmas abnormalities, which I fucking love. Rudolta is really the main abnormality that we're going to talk about in this section, since Sandolph is a version similar to Rudolta, where, from what I'm seeing at least, doesn't have much of a difference to Rudolta, other than the looks change. And as for the Christmas Nightmare abnormality, well, it is a new abnormality entirely, where we don't actually know what it is supposed to be, and can only speculate. But either way, let's talk about the fleshy reindeer. Rudolta of the Sleigh is an abnormality that was made, if we take Legacy Lobotomy Corporation as a fact, when a child wanted to see Santa dismembered and cut to pieces because they hated Christmas. Or have never seen Santa. Now, which is more correct? Well, I personally believe it is the former, since a lot of the flavor text talks about where is Santa for those unhappy, and with my infinite hatred, I give you this gift. Which, fun fact, Santata also says it, saying, "Here, where all those who have been marginalized and exiled by humans gather and wallow, we pour our infinite hatred and care into packaging these gifts." Essentially saying that Christmas is a season of hatred and fear to the person that created the abnormality via the bucket in Elcor. The person, or child, hates Christmas to the point that they wish to see Santa dead and cut to pieces. Why? Well, maybe it's because they also live in the outskirts, where during Christmas, instead of happy cheers with nice gifts, they get to hear screams of fear, as they will become gifts that are made of flesh, put together by the monsters who hate them. Hence the whole reason why, design-wise and lore-wise, Rudolta is considered to be made of 3 parts. Rudolph himself, which can't move in general, other than look around freakishly. Santa, which is just a bag filled with most likely his organs. And the sleigh itself, which holds the bag, which most likely holds everything else, such as his flesh and bones, all of which are meant to represent the gifts made in the outskirts, I'd say. Now, a doctor in Lobotomy Corporation does theorize that all 3 of them were possibly originally one being, presumably Santa. And in this case, I guess he can be correct. But Rudolta is more Rudolph than Santa, while Sandolph, in this case, is more Santa than Rudolph, which, to be honest, is kind of cool. Hell, even the names are kind of switched. That's also cool. But going back to Rudolta, when it escapes, as said before, it doesn't move, which, to be honest, it's because its muscles can't move, and instead, the sleigh is moving it, which is intriguing. Now, I know the laws of physics and the like don't really want to be applied to the abnormalities since, well, God exists, but like, how? I understand the meaning of Rudolta being the new Santa, but like, you know what? Whatever. It's magic. Moving on. I would talk about Sandolph next and the differences between the two, since it is an aberration of it, if aberrations are even canon in the first place. But there really isn't anything that we can talk about. The only 2 things that I can really talk about is that, well, 1, design-wise, they're switched, which cool, I guess, I already talked about it, and also there are better aberrations of each other. And secondly, which is more speculative, is the fact that Sandolph could be an abnormality that represents what the gnomes and the giant think they are, and what they are doing based on the ego dialogue. Which, to be honest, it's not too bad, but again, it's just the both of them switching places. There's nothing to talk about in this case, but moving on. I guess the last thing that I want to talk about is the new abnormality, aka Krampus, aka the Ego Christmas Nightmare. Now, what the fuck is this thing? Originally, I thought that this thing was more of a Christmas-themed Spider-Bud, which it can be. However, the major difference between these two is that Spider-Bud protects its children. It is the mother, after all, while this thing doesn't have any children, so when the actual trailer came out, I had my gears moving, thinking on what that abnormality is meant to be, since the dialogue is meant to symbolize that of a monster behind the sheets and that there is something about curiosity. So I thought of the Boogeyman, which does have its similarities between the two, which in my opinion seems reasonable. But the problem is, the Boogeyman isn't necessarily Christmas themed, and then I remembered Krampus. And yeah, we can see the connection, right? So it's definitely either the Boogeyman, as it is supposed to be the monster under bed, or Krampus, since it's a Christmas-themed goat monster that will send bad children to hell. Or it can be a mixture of both, which is gonna be kinda cool if that happens, I guess. Now, I do hope that we will eventually meet the abnormality, and also Sandolph, I guess, when the time comes, but that's unlikely, right? Now, to conclude, yeah, Christmas can actually be quite scary if you make it scary and not just happy and jolly fun, huh? Now, I also do wish for more holiday-themed abnormalities, like one for Halloween or Easter. Well, there is one Easter-themed abnormality, but maybe it should be something to do with rabbits rather than some pink leaves. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, subscribe and when you go back to bed after watching this video, after getting your flesh-feeling toy from a present that you got from Santa, don't check under your sheets. It's all fine. It's all good. There is no monster under the bed. Don't worry too much. Anyways, see you soon when I'll come to analyze another abnormality. Also, thanks for 500 subs and 50k viewers on a 4-month-old video. Maybe I should do another Honkai related video, huh? I'll place that on a pin for now and think about it later, okay?